Merchandise Show. Hi, everybody. I'm Harry Donahue, and welcome to this expansive merchandise show.
So I get back to Philadelphia quite a bit. It's a great golf town, wonderful things happening, and I'm so excited about the
It
Open.
makes it easier. I mean, sometimes it's difficult for people to rush out to the golf course and practice and so on. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of facilities around the country that
To me, the show seemed to be on the way back. In previous years, it's been
Attended. Inside Golf is on the road in Orlando at the annual PGA Merchandise Show. Hi, everybody. I'm Harry Donahue, and welcome to this expansive merchandise show held annually here in Orlando, Florida. Over the next 2 weeks, Inside Golf will be here to show you the new product lines available this year in golf, apparel, plus tips for improving your game. We'll talk to some of golf's biggest personalities like Annika Sorenstam, Hank Haney, and Dave Pelz. So let's begin show one from Orlando, the PGA Merchandise Show, coming up next here on Inside Golf. Inside Golf is brought to you by Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, by Nike Golf, and by the Philadelphia Section PGA.
To the duffers, the hacks, we've been there.
To the 3 and 4 putters, we learned.
And to the Rough Riders and Sandmen, we're ready to teach you.
To everybody out there who thinks they can't play the game, the over 28,000 PGA golf professionals say, we're here to help you discover or rediscover the joys of golf. To you, and you, and you, we're here.
The Philadelphia Section PGA is here to teach you. Play golf, Delaware Valley.
With the renowned golf course designer, architect, Tom Fazio. Tom, good to see you here in Florida, and I know you're traveling all over the world because your business now takes you everywhere, right?
Yes, it does. With the growth of golf around the world, it's kind of an exciting time for new projects and things to be happening. And I have a son now who's in the business, kind of the next generation as well. I had the opportunity to start in the 60s with my uncle, and he was the earlier generation, and now we're into the third generation of, it's kind of exciting to see that.
Well, it was a few weeks back. We did a show on Plymouth Country Club, and of course, Uncle George lived, 12th hole?
12th green, right on the 12th green. And I would go to Plymouth with him when we started our golf design business in the early 60s, mid-60s, when he lived there. And Plymouth had a small practice facility on the entrance on the left, and George would go there, and they were the days you had a shag bag and you hit balls. So we would go there, George would hit balls, and he'd have a cat. I was always amazed from the first time, obviously a great player, and he'd have a young fella out there with the bag opened up, and George is hitting 2 irons, and the caddy's out there picking the balls up on one bounce in the bag.
With 2 irons.
With 2 irons. And now when George would let me hit and give me a lesson, you know, the caddy's running all over, and, you know, it took him forever to pick up 3 or 4 shots. But I have great memories of Plymouth Country Club, a great place.
Well, you do a lot of work in the Philadelphia area right now, getting ready for the Open at Merion in 2013, and I know they've brought you in to sort of fine-tune things out at Merion East.
Well, we've been working with the people at Merion and Buddy Marucci, who's kind of in charge of that venue for the, and Buddy's one of the great amateur players in Philadelphia. I'm also been working over at Waynesboro, which is one of my earlier courses that I worked on, starting with my uncle in 1964. I spent every day of my life there in 1964, building Waynesboro, and we're doing a renovation project there. So I get back to Philadelphia quite a bit. It's a great golf town, wonderful things happening, and I'm so excited about the Open at Merion in 13.
Well, let me ask you about that. A lot of people say, well, Merion is not the proper length for today's players, and things along that line. What's your response to that?
Well, we're getting closer to the time. You know, the clock is ticking, and we're going to see all the comments. It's kind of like cocktail talk. It's not long enough, it's not hard enough, it's not strong enough. I don't believe any of that. I think that when you go to Merion and you play Merion and see the venue, the great history of the club, the wonderful golf holes, Merion will be a game changer for golf, where it'll take that controversy that's been existing about you have to have a long, difficult, hard golf course.
7,800 yards or something.
That's there's nothing wrong with that for some venues, but Merion will prove, in my opinion, how you can have great golf on the old classic golf courses, because it is a fabulous venue for golf.
Right, and the great equalizer out there is always that rough.
Well, certainly the rough, and it won't be just about the rough. The interesting thing about Merion, when you play Merion, and for those who have been there to know, there are some short par 4 golf holes, but there are some long par 4 golf holes. The interesting thing on my side of the business of design, and I always relate the detail of what a Merion is. What Merion is a design where the short holes are short and the long holes are long. Very simple, basic equation, but that makes it a unique and special in its own way.
Tom Fazio, Philadelphia, Norristown native, and going on to make his mark around the world. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Enjoy it.
Walking around the merchandise show, one gets hungry. So, how about a nutritional break right here with Bill Stewart? Bill is with the First and 10th Tee Food Company. And
absolutely.
What would these look really good.
Well,
what is
thank
this?
you. We get a lot of feedback. People love the taste of this. This is the First Tee Bar, meant to be a pre-round meal, made of oat, soy, crisp rice, good complex carbs for sustained energy.
So that's for the front 9.
For the front 9.
Now,
Then
how
for the
about
back,
the back 9?
absolutely. The back 9, we have a bar called the 10th Tee Bar. Eat at the turn. Has green tea and ginseng, helps to sustain the energy. We don't want to lose energy the 14th, 15th hole. We have a new product actually called Sheets.
Wow.
This is actually an energy strip that you put on your tongue. And
so it's not a liquid?
Not a liquid, it's a strip, so you don't have any of the issues with liquid, you don't feel bloated or full. And what's great about it is there's no sugar, no caffeine, meant to sustain energy. It's got B complex vitamins. It's a delicious, delicious product.
One of these for 18 holes?
One of these for 18 holes, or one at the turn if you're starting to flag a little bit. So all about sustained energy, but if it doesn't taste good, not going to work. So we bring a combination of good taste, good nutrition, and sustained energy.
You know what? I'm going to stay here. I'm going to get energized with Bill Stewart. Right. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Harry. Appreciate it.
Okay. Jessica Carafiello is, well, she's got ties to the Philadelphia area. She's from Westchester, New York, and played her college golf in Boca Raton. And tell us about your career. How's it going? First, explain, Jessica, your tie to Philadelphia area.
Okay, well, my sponsor, I met Land Connect, Bob Friedman, about 6 years ago down in South Florida at a course where I was working. And about 6 months later, qualified for the U.S. Open at Saucon Valley, 40 minutes away from Land Connect.
Right, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yes.
Now, right now, you were on the LPGA Tour, and what's your status right now?
I went to final stages. I never actually played on the tour as a member, but I've played in the Canadian and the U.S. And this year I'm playing in the LPGA Wegmans as earned an exemption through winning the Southeast section for the LPGA Teaching Club Pro.
Okay.
And so I've played in a number of events and made it to finals a couple years. So
Still have the hope?
I do.
All
Not
right.
the hope. I know I'm going.
Tell
I'm
us,
getting
the LPGA Tour this year has more events, right?
Yes.
So things are starting to turn around in a positive way a little bit.
Absolutely. Michael Wan, he's done really well as a commissioner, building relationships, finding sponsors, and so the schedule's only getting stronger.
Yeah, and that's got to help people like you, more events, right?
Absolutely.
More opportunities
Absolutely.
to play.
It really means that having that full status gets you into more local events, more stateside events.
From talking to Annika Sorenstam here at the Merchandise Show earlier, her foundation is doing a lot with kids, and the obesity rate is off the charts. And I have to say that women like Annika, yourself, they're role models for young women to stay in shape. You don't have to go out and play professional golf, but at least be a role model in terms of watching what you eat and make sure you're doing the best for your body.
Right, I would agree. It's more of a sport than I think they used to look at it as. And we need people like Annika and people who are good role models.
Now, I know you got a late start, relatively speaking,
Yes.
in the game of golf. You weren't like a country club kid
No,
when
not
you were
by any
7 and
means.
8 as a junior.
Not
Tell
by
us a
any
little bit about your own personal history.
I grew up playing soccer and softball, travel ball with my twin sister Laura, and she started playing cross country as a freshman in high school, and I chose golf. As twins, we needed something separate.
Okay.
And my grandfather was a great golfer in Westchester, and he introduced me to it, and happens to live in South Florida, right across the street from Bob Toski, who I've since been taking lessons from for 6 years.
And
so.
Bob Toski, for those who may not know the name, is a legend when it comes to
is.
golf instruction
Yes.
for a lot of tour players, and he's the ripe young age of
84, 85.
But still out there.
Oh yeah, he keeps up. He doesn't let me out driving very often.
There you go. Is he tough on you?
He is, oh yeah.
That's good. Jessica, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck
Thanks
in
for
your
having me.
career, okay? We'll look forward to another U.S. Open or two. Huh?
You got it.
Coaches, to give people that excitement.
Up next, my conversation with one of golf's top instructors, David Ledbetter.
That, a complete beginner could hit a shot for 4, maybe.
If 5 friends are having a light beer and they all put their drinks down in the same place, how long will it take to find the Yuengling Light Lager? About that long. Because the rich amber color of Yuengling Light Lager makes it stand out from the rest. The true lager flavor, however, makes it disappear. 99 calories, 100% authentic lager. Yuengling Light Lager, from America's oldest brewery. Rethink your light beer.
As we know, it's a game that's constantly changing. We're not machines. As much as we try to be, try to get repetitive and consistent, doesn't matter whether it's chipping, putting, tee shots, iron shots.
With David Ledbetter. David, you're here with About Golf Simulators. What is it about golf simulators that makes them so distinctive?
Well, they've put a tremendous amount of research and development into bringing golf into people's living rooms, literally. And obviously, there's a lot of people have got these in their homes now, but more than anything else, I'm excited from an instructional standpoint because you can really help people understand what's going on in the golf swing. We all know people love to improve and work on instruction, work on technique, and this really affords us the ability to see, with their new launch monitor. I mean, it's more than just an entertainment aspect. There's a real educational value to About Golf.
So it's really a state-of-the-art teaching tools for somebody like you are concerned.
Absolutely, yeah. We see what the club head's doing, we see what the golf ball's doing, and we're now going to be working on what the body's doing. So we're tying up with biomechanics to see things like force plates, to see where pressure is during the golf swing. We're going to be looking at grip pressure, things of that nature. So just enabling somebody to understand why they do it well. I mean, the problem is a lot of people, when they hit a good shot, they have no clue why they do it. Right. So that's important.
Maybe because it doesn't happen that frequently.
Well,
right?
that's part of it. That's part of it. But our goal really is to try to help people to really understand what they're trying to do, have fun at the same time, and it makes it easier. I mean, sometimes it's difficult for people to rush out to the golf course and practice and so on. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of facilities around the country that people can go and play. If they don't have one at home, I mean, they're not obviously the cheapest piece of equipment, but I mean, people have them, and so it really is. I mean, it's a way. I mean, you look in Asia now. I mean, these things are really catching on from the standpoint of, like in Bangkok, for instance, where it's very hot, and downtown Bangkok, where people can't get out to golf courses. There people are playing golf, they're playing tournaments, they're taking lessons. So it's almost, it's maybe not quite the real thing. I mean, it might not have the smell of the cut grass, etc., etc.
That's coming.
But it's coming.
That's
That'll
coming.
be there. Yeah, we hear the birds tweeting.
The sound effects.
Yeah, sure.
Very realistic. Let me ask you one question. You have worked with some of the greatest golfers in the history of the game. What was the key that made it easier to work with some guys as opposed to others? Is it chemistry, personality? What made it click for you and some of your best clients?
Yeah, there is. It's a chemistry. I mean, they're all different. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the commonality is that there's no two people exactly the same. The way that they conceptualize things, the way they formulate things in their mind. And so, I mean, you have to sort of get inside somebody's mind. When you're coaching and working with a player, you've got to figure out, okay, what is this person, what they want, how are we going to go about doing it, and do it in the least sort of imposing manner, shall we say, because if you try to impose your personality on a player, generally speaking, that's never going to work, because players, they have egos, they have personalities that are strong, and so you've got to blend with it. It's very interesting. I mean, I'm interested, I like all sports. I mean, I'm interested to see how I've played golf and coached Ivan Lendl. Okay, obviously he loves golf. I mean, a great tennis player. He's now got into coaching tennis. He's coaching Andy Murray now, and so I'm going to be very interested to see how that works, because Ivan Lendl has a strong personality, certainly, and Andy Murray certainly does. And we'll see how that works. So it's coaching in any sport. I mean, you try to bring out the best in each player. I mean, that's what coaches
Safe to
do.
say there's always a shelf life in a relationship between a swing coach and a top golfer.
Generally
some longer
speaking,
than others.
yeah, some longer than others,
forever,
like a
right?
caddy
Right.
relationship. You know, I mean, I sort of worked for 13 years with Nick Faldo, which is, you know, still longer than his
that
three
seems really long
still longer
this
than his
day
3 marriages, you know, but that's pretty good. So, oh, sorry, Nick.
That was David, not me, Nick.
No, seriously though, no, we had a great relationship, and it is. I mean, you know, relationships run dry. You run out of information, or things just get stale, exactly. And you know, sometimes it's time for a change. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know?
All right, David, a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No doubt this time of the year, you're in your home, in your den, wondering how much longer before we can get outside and enjoy a round of golf. Well, now you don't have to worry about going outside. You can do it right in the comfort of your home with the simulator from About Golf. Let's see how it works. Chuck Faust is the president of About Golf Simulators. And Chuck, give us an idea how this works and all the various things you can do, not just hitting into a simulator, but looking at the terrain. You can even actually read putts on the green from this,
exactly
right? And get the contour, much like you would do in an actual situation.
About Golf has some of the most accurate tracking available to anything in terms of indoors. You've heard a little bit earlier in talking with David Ledbetter, our attractiveness in his environment. So what we have is machine vision tracking that tracks the spin on the ball, everything about the club and the ball, and provides us the ability to render ball flight extremely accurately. So whether you hook or slice, whatever it might be, it's going to be extremely accurate. It's going to be picked up by the system.
It's a teaching tool, but also for somebody in the Philadelphia area that doesn't get golf out on the golf course maybe from December until March. It's a chance to go in there and actually feel like you're at some of the great courses in the world.
Exactly. So there are all sorts of courses you can play. You can play any time of the night, the day, when it's snowing, when it's raining, whatever the weather might be. And you can do it, you can practice in this. You've got driving ranges, you got data about what's happening with the club and with the ball. So you can teach in it, you can use it in, club fitters use this technology regularly. Teachers use it regularly. And then there's also the option to play full courses, like rather than making that trip to Florida or to California, you can
get your foursome, bring them over to the house, and project it. Now, it comes in various medium sizes, right? Now here we have about as big, I guess, as somebody would want, and it's almost like a surround visual.
And in fact, that's what we call it. It's a surround sim. A sim surround is what.
See that? Do I know what I'm talking about or what? But you can fit it on a home TV set too, right?
Exactly right. So you could project this onto a large screen and hit into a net and have the feeling by looking at the screen, projecting the golf course. So that would be a lower cost version of this.
Right.
There are various sizes that are as small as maybe 12 feet wide and about 16 feet deep, to up as wide as this one is, which covers 160 degrees wrapping around you. So you have like an IMAX feeling in this single screen structure.
Amazing. And it also comes with sound, so we can hear the birds chirping as we're about to... Shh, quiet, please. And what are some of the courses that are featured?
Well, you have Pebble Beach and Harbor Town and St. Andrews and TPC Sawgrass, TPC Scottsdale. So there are a host of different ones, and we're adding them all the time. There's more than 50 today. Wow. We're working with a number of new ones that we'll be introducing later this year, some of them very exciting, and as we complete those, we'll announce it.
And you don't even have to leave the comforts of your home.
Exactly.
It's a golfer's paradise, as you guys know. It's a toy store for sure, all the new products and so on. I went down with a good friend of mine, Tom Craig, who works for Titleist.
To the duffers, the hacks, we've been there.
To the 3 and 4 putters, we learned.
And to the rough riders and sandmen, we're ready to teach you.
To everybody out there who thinks they can't play the game, the over 28,000 PGA golf professionals say, we're here to help you discover or rediscover the joys of golf. To you, and you, and you, we're here.
The Philadelphia Section PGA is here to teach you. Play golf, Delaware Valley.
Guests of Inside Golf enjoy dining at Sim Sim, the popular Asian fusion restaurant located on Germantown Avenue in the heart of scenic Chestnut Hill.
And now it's time for Teed Off, brought to you by Yuengling, America's oldest brewery.
I saw that last year, too.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues with Teed Off, and today our panel is at the beautiful Green Parrot Restaurant and Pub right in the center of Newtown, Bucks County. What a beautiful little borough right on Sycamore Street. And you talk about beautiful. How about the panel we've assembled today? We have Joe Logan from MyPhillyGolf.com and also from Global Golf Post. From the NBA, well, sort of. 25 years as an official in the NBA and a great golfer, by the way, Mr. Steve Javie.
Thank you.
And let's see, Tony Leodora, who for the third time in the last 4 years, his radio show, Golf Talk Live, down at the PGA Merchandise Show, got the award for Best Golf Radio Show in America. Welcome, Mr. Leodora.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, and Steve, I know you've been to the PGA Merchandise Show in the past, so you're included in this. The show recently got rave reviews from most people down in Orlando. And I know, Joe, you were there. What was the buzz, Joe, coming out of that week of hectic activity and displays, new products, everything?
I think there were two buzzes. One, to me, the show seemed to be on the way back. In previous years, it's been
attendance-wise, or just things that were going on?
I'm thinking more of the floor, vendors. In a few years past, it was shrinking at an alarming rate. It seems to be getting bigger again, more vendors, more manufacturers, which I hope is a good sign for golf. On the other hand, there was a show by the program by the PGA of America, Golf 2.0. They had some pretty disturbing statistics about the state of the game. The one that I took away that was the most worrisome, Jack Nicklaus, of his 22 grandkids, one plays golf.
I saw that. And somebody said if Jack Nicklaus can't get his grandkids to play the game, who can?
Who can? And who has more opportunity than Jack Nicklaus's kids?
Yeah, what are they playing, by the way? I hope they're playing something.
Yeah.
Huh?
We.
Is that it? They're texting.
Right.
They're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Tony, what was the buzz?
Well, you know, I agree with Joe. It was my 21st show, so I've seen it, the ebb and flow, and I agree that it was a bit more active, a bit more crowded, both in the attendance. 300 new companies, there 300 new golf products on display of the 1,080 vendors who were there, whatever it was. Now, of course, there's probably 290 that weren't there from last year, but there was, a little bit of an uptick there. More importantly, I saw business being written on the floor. Now, I saw that last year, too, and it came to a screeching halt because of the weather last year, but we don't have that excuse so far this year, and I definitely saw business being written, deals being made, people making long-range plans.
Yeah, well, you and I were down there together, and I know, for the next couple of weeks we're going to be looking at the show and your top 10 products, which is always a favorite part of our show whenever we get back from Orlando and put that together. Steve, I mentioned you have in the past attended at least one merchandise show. Give us a little bit of the history and what you thought of it.
I thought it was wonderful. It's a golfer's paradise, as you guys know.
Toy store.
It's a toy store for sure, all the new products and so on. I went down with a good friend of mine, Tom Craig, who works for Titleist.
Titleist rep.
And Tom showed me around, and I was really amazed at all the technology that comes out year to year. And I'm sure this is about 20 years ago. Now, as Joe was saying, and Tony, all these new vendors, there are 300 vendors, which is really encouraging. If you think about it, I know, Tony, 290 might have left, but having 300 is really, really good. I'm wondering if it has
new vendors.
Yeah, new vendors, right. I'm wondering if it has to do with maybe even the mild temperatures here in the Northeast, where there's so many golfers that maybe they decided to, let's get back into golf early. Do you think it has anything to do with it, Tony?
Probably has people thinking about it a little bit more. I think some of the golf professionals at the last minute, because of some found money in December at their clubs, then all of a sudden were sent down to the show who hadn't been planning on going, and that helped.
Some of the bigger companies, Joe, put on displays like out of this world. I mean, like Hollywood Productions. I'm referring to Callaway for one. Callaway had runway models at different times during the day, walking up and down to the latest music. It was like something out of what you'd see at in New York, on 7th Avenue. I mean, It was unbelievable. You almost had to be there to describe it.
And they actually had Tony in a tutu.
Well, that was one of the highlights. I don't know if that's going to make Tony's top 10.
Tell you whose tutu I got into. I'm not telling you that.
Same thing at the other end of the floor was TaylorMade. They had, they call these things booths. That is really a misnomer, if ever there was one. They're gargantuan things. They're like a city block full of.
Mall,
Oh, absolutely. And now, you said you went online to look at the top products coming out of this year's show, and what'd you find out?
Well, the thing I found was Titleist has the brand new golf ball coming out, and we just said, what's it called? The Velocity, Joe?
It's a distance ball.
It just seems incredible. What I liked is the numbers on it had number 11 on it. You can get different types of numbers. Before it used to stop at 8. It seems like there's no number to stop at right now.
Okay.
But I also thought that the new shoes, I think Oakley had out, which seems so light. It was like 9.5 ounces or something. And for guys, Tony, like yourself and myself, who play a lot of golf, I know there are times you play 36 holes and your feet just ache you. Yeah. There's no doubt. And the older we get.
Did you see the most interesting thing about those Oakley shoes is the lightness, but the spikes are actually Velcroed on the bottom, and when they wear out, you just peel them right off. Put on some new ones.
All right, now we are going to go out to the bar, and Ellen Cloje is standing by, and she has somebody who has a question for Tony Leodora. Ellen?
Thank you, Harry. We're here with Rich. Rich, where are you from?
Hi, Rich Hoskins. I'm from Prudential Fox and Roach in Newtown.
And what is your question?
Tony, I'd like to ask you a question. Who was your favorite celebrity golf interview with?
My best celebrity interview in golf has always been Fuzzy Zoeller. You never know what's going to come in there.
I would have never guessed that.
Although
was that at the Masters when we were talking
a number of times? Although I did one with David Faraday this year, where he expounded for over 2 minutes on the art of relieving himself of air, and it wasn't burping.
Okay.
That was pretty wild to have on air.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Teed Off from Newtown and the Green Parrot. Inside Golf continues with more in just a moment. Looking for a comfortable dining and get-together spot in historic Bucks County? Welcome to the Green Parrot Restaurant and Pub in Newtown. The kitchen features wood-burning stoves, specials for lunch and dinner daily, a wine list that features more than 60 offerings, and there are 24 different draft beers. All this in one very unique place, the Green Parrot on Sycamore in beautiful Newtown.
It's time light beer got some character. 99 calories, 100% authentic lager. Yuengling Light Lager from America's oldest brewery. Rethink your light beer.
Well, hope you enjoyed our first week of shows from the Merchandise Show, the PGA Merchandise Show here in Orlando, Florida. Next week on Inside Golf, Hank Haney responds to Tiger's criticism of Hank's new book, The Big Miss.
The last 3 years I helped Tiger, he won 45% of his tournaments. So the overwhelming majority of the book is going to be very, very positive because I observed greatness.
And more from the PGA Merchandise Show in Orlando. Remember, no matter how bad it's going for you, don't pick up. See you next week from Orlando in the PGA Merchandise Show here on Inside Golf. Inside Golf has been brought to you by Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, by Nike Golf, and by the Philadelphia Section PGA.